I don't know if this will be the best way to start this off, but I low key wanna um kick this off by singing "Ding dong, the witch is dead, the witch old witch, the witch is witch, there you go." The witch. I fucked it up. I fucked it up. I'm too happy. I'm too right. Um, but yeah, the witch is dead. Amazing, amazing timing, sweetie. Um, but I'll get into that a little bit further. Um, this is not technically officially the first episode of It Doesn't Have to Be This Way, which is kind of what I want to call this ongoing stream. But it is kind of like the first one that is called that because the previous streams were not called that. Um, but yeah, I it is kind of the first episode, but also kind of not. Hence the title. And I'm gonna probably keep this relatively short because I'm still recovering from my sciatica issues and sitting. I'm heat padding myself and I'm like sitting comfortably now, but I generally can't sit for too straighten out these cords for too long comfortably, so I may on this may be a bit of a speed run version of the stream, but the good news is that I'm hoping to go live on Friday, Thursday or Friday. I'm leaning towards Friday, so if you want to be there and not be square, that's probably the day that it'll happen. And I'll post if needed. I'll update as needed. Uh, but yeah, this the title being "It Doesn't Have to Be This Way." Um, it's going to basically it's my intro way of talking about current events and things that are going on that week or that I've heard about or want to talk about, and me kind of infusing a lot of comedy because the news, if you weren't aware, is dark as hell these days. Is almost as dark as the hell that Lindsey Graham's in. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. It's like you wake up and find out a shitty old man is dead who's like been doing shitty shit for years, and then it like clears your pores, it fixes your sciatica, your pain issues, checks get deposited, inshallah. I'm manifesting that. But yeah, like everything is right in the world, oddly. um it's crazy to me that the only gift that Lindsey Graham, I almost called him Limsey, that's crazy, Lindsey Graham has given us is his death. It's not his life, it's not his time in the Senate or any of that. It's his death. um Excuse me one sec. Still have a bit of a cough, but we're working on it. We're doing the apple cider and salt gargles, throat coat tea and all that. So it it'll get better. It'll get there. But anyway, um, so I have a couple of topics today. Obviously, Limsey. Why do I keep calling him that? Lindsey Graham is one of them. And there's a couple others, and I'm gonna try to end these off on like a positive note. So it's all like I'm gonna be funny throughout or try to, but I do plan to end on a positive note for every episode, so that if there is dark news, which there is some less lighthearted news coming up in this, or stories I want to talk about, uh at least there's something positive to kind of like cut the negative with. I don't know. But yeah, I'm one second. I'm just gonna text some links or text a link to the live. Um uh, uh, I should really hum some theme music while I do this. That would probably help make it less boring. I don't know. I don't know what the theme song should be, to be honest. And I feel like I fucked up The Witch is Dead, but you know, I'll do that. I'll do that. How about that? Almost done. All right. Once more. And one more. Once more. Oh my god, I can't find the chat. Okay, there it is. Okay, I promise this is not all going to be me texting. I don't know how to do this beforehand, like in terms of, I don't have the link. I don't know if it generates the link before for the live before you like, you know, press go live. So it's hard to like send the link out to people, and then like when I'm on, it's hard to remember to or stop to be able to do that, because then you're stopping your flow. It's all a thing. It's all a process, but I'm learning as we go. You know, it's all good. Anyway, back to the subjects at hand. So obviously the first topic is Lindsey Graham's dead. It's the party in the house, and I don't even know the lyrics. I kept to like, what am I doing? I don't know why I'm like butchering all the song lyrics. I know that song lyric. It's party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody gonna have a good time. I don't know why I butchered that, but party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody gonna have a good time. Okay, yeah. So the Cracker Dead, thank God it was a well, I don't think God had anything to do with it. So I won't thank him, but and I don't really rock with that nigga anyway. But you know, man's dead. Also, I mean, I know it hasn't like come out in the news yet, and we're still like speculating, but pretty sure Mitch McConnell's dead as well. Cause like, look, there's no, like I said, confirmed reports, but people, neighbors, and whatnot were saying that like he was found unconscious, which is not really great for anyone, but like especially when you're that old, it's not great if people are finding you unconscious. It generally is not a good sign, and it isn't a good omen. And then also the fact that they allegedly they said that CPR was done on him, and like one of the things most people, unless you are an EMT or have CPR training, or you know it somehow became relevant, maybe you looked it up on your own, As a trivia fact, one of the things most people don't know about CPR is that a lot of the times when like the EMT, or if a good Samaritan who knows CPR is doing CPR on someone who's unconscious and needs it, a lot of the times like you end up breaking or fracturing the rib cage in part of the push part of it portion of the CPR. um and that's like if you're not using a defibrillator, which I think is only really like I have no training with that. I was CPR trained a long time ago, and that expired, and I haven't been able to take another course since. So I don't know that. I don't really know what defibrillator training is. I think I maybe like learned in the CPR course, but I'm sure that was forever ago. I won't say how long ago it was, but it was forever ago. So it probably things have probably updated or changed, and I'm not 100% certain enough to like just talk about it willy nilly. But like, and getting resuscitated with a defib also doesn't feel great. Apparently, I mean, I've never experienced it myself, but I mean, you think about it, it's electric jolts going through your body to restart your heart. It static shock doesn't feel good. I imagine defibrillator feels a lot worse than that. So, but yeah, when they're doing CPR, often, especially if the person who needs it is like a child or like very young or very old, which both those ranges of the age spectrum tend to have very breakable bones, or less solid bones, to say it very unscientifically. I don't know why, like I can't think of the word but exactly, but or the termage, but yeah, like, so even if he passed out and heart attack, whatever, blah 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 blah, and they did CPR on him and he's alive, he now more likely than not has broken ribs. And the thing with the CPR broken ribs thing is they tell you it's better to like break someone's ribs and they are able to survive, and like, yeah, it sucks to break a rib or even fracture one, but at least you're alive and they can kind of deal with the rib thing later, versus not doing that and the person passes away. So it's always preferable to have broken ribs than to die, at least in terms of like EMT, CPR, blah blah blah. But either way, as an older person, if he is like trying to recover with broken ribs, that's not going to be fun. Like, I'm not his age, nowhere near his age, and I would hate that. So I'm sure if he is still somehow kicking it, he's not having a good time, and I love that for him. And like, before anyone goes like, oh, don't speak ill of the dead for Lindsey Graham, or like, don't be mean. Shh, shh, shh. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I'm so sorry. Like, here's the thing about not speaking ill of the dead. That only really applies if, like, before the person became deceased, they were a relatively decent person and it's like gossipy shit. It doesn't apply if the person when they were alive did bad shit. Like, nobody is afraid to say something bad, or shouldn't be afraid to say something bad about the H-man, from that second war thing that happened, the event, the event, in the 40s. Nobody in their right mind, unless they're one of his supporters, or down low white supremacist or whatever, racist, blah blah blah. Nobody who is, oh, hey Tish, you saying hi? You saying hi to the chat? That's my cat Tish, Morticia. You know. Yeah, she might jump over here. That's great. That'll hopefully get me more views. Thank you, baby. But yeah, the H man, I would hope nobody who understands how bad he was as a person would be like, oh, you can't speak ill of him. He's still a human being. Like, are you kidding me? Like, one of arguably the worst human beings, by Tish, one of arguably the worst human beings in existence, and there have been a lot. So if and granted, there's been a lot of time in between, like when he was alive and you know when he wasn't, when he died, but like I get that this may seem too soon to like be celebrating or dancing on someone's grave. Personally, if I could, I'd piss on it. I'd piss. It would if it were my way, his grave site would become a gender neutral bathroom. And that's to me the only fair outcome to in terms of dealing with these terrible people who are homophobic or transphobic when they die, to turn their grave, or their last resting place or whatever the fuck into a gender neutral bathroom, because that's what they deserve. That's what they deserve for all eternity. So I understand don't speak ill of the dead if it's like someone who hasn't done abusive things or terrible things or like almost single-handedly set us back as a species. But like, hang on, I got a cough coming. Sorry. Another reason I'm going to try to keep this short, just because my throat game. That sounds crazy to say on the live, but my throat is being a little tedious at the moment. But yeah, like if you're not doing harmful, bad shit while you're alive, sure, you don't deserve to be like spoken ill of. But if you are doing bad things, and like if you have dedicated your life to just being an awful person, yeah, I'm a fucking celebrate. If you've done so much harm to people that like when you die, it's actually becomes a net positive. Like I'm not gonna weep for you. I also, my thing is a queer, black, and femme. I mean, I'm non-binary, but a femme person. Um, I'm not gonna cry for someone that would sentence me to death or like be okay with my death happening in front of them or actively participate. Because like, I don't think if I were drowning, I don't think Lindsey Graham would even like pause doing anything to stop or be like, oh, that person's drowning over there. Someone should do something. So I'm gonna keep that same energy and give it back to him because what the fuck I look like, And same for Mitch McConnell. I used to call him Bitch McConnell, you know, as an insult. But Mitch should be the term for male bitches. That way, you're not calling a man a bitch. You're just like, you're just such a Mitch, man. Which is just like a lame ass, loser ass, ain't no good, dog shit man. That's what that definition should mean. And I will submit that to Merriam Webster. I'm hope they get right on it. Anyway, moving on to less celebratory news. I've also, of course, been following the Nolan Wells situation, which I don't even want to fully get into. Like, I really want this to be very quick. And first of all, like, I hate that I even have to say, like, rest in peace, my man. Like, literally gone too soon and all that. Like, I hate that I have to say that because he's not here with us and he should be. And the fact the conversations around the fact that his friends just ditched him, took his phone, and then were like, "Oh yeah, no, he was hanging out with he saw a girl, he was trying to talk to her." I don't know any man that tries to talk to a woman, especially in this day and age. And like, granted, he's not a grown man, but I think he was like over 18. I actually don't even know his age, but clearly very young and like not a grown man, but at least a young adult, young adult man. I don't know any man, young or otherwise, who tries to talk to a girl and don't have his phone on him. I don't think that happens anymore. Like maybe back when I was like literally a child, uh, boys and age appropriate men would not to me. No men talk to me as a child. I wouldn't have allowed it. Neither would my parents, thankfully. But you know, in the sort of courtship of childhood and teenagehood, like maybe back then boys would like write something, write their phone number on a piece of paper and give it to you, but I don't know anybody that does that now. Um, Also, like I've heard again, this is all alleged. This is what I'm hearing based on reports and news and social media, and a bunch of other stuff that's coming out. That they took his shoes. So like, there's no world in which, like, for me as a, I guess, middle age millennial, whatever. I'm kind of like smack dab in the middle in a lot of ways between like Gen X, millennial, and Gen Z. It's generations are weird, but like for me, I don't go anywhere without my phone. So if you find my phone somewhere and I'm not with it, it either means I lost it or someone stole it and, dropped it there and I don't have it with me, or something bad has happened. Like, that, in that order, and I'm not, I won't age, or I won't say my age, but I'm way older than Nolan is, and that's my perspective. Like, I don't go nowhere without my phone, and I hate the shit. I hate iPhone. I hate Apple. I hate like how this shit is always listening to us and spying on us and like trying to sell us shit. I hate that shit, but I still carry it with me because like it's the only device in which people can contact me and like know where I am, especially if something were to happen, right? Um, and for better or worse. So like, I know Gen Z and Gen Alpha are even more rabid, and I mean that complimentary in this one case, are a lot more rabid about their phones and like feral about it and like will not go anywhere without their phones. So the minute like the boys took his phone, allegedly, I was like, that's sus. Like, play the Among Us music, because that is sus as hell. Like, that's so weird. That's not typical behavior. And then like just the fact that his so-called friends, and like, as somebody, I suspect I'm autistic. I don't know, but there's a lot of signs. There's a lot of signs that I've seen over the years. I'm like, might be. I'm definitely ADHD, so I'm very much neurospicy, neurodivergent. I almost said neurotypical, and that would have been a fucking lie. But as somebody who's a little odd and always has been, I've always had a lot of fake ass friends in my life, and like I'm finally, inshallah, knocking on wood, I'm finally in a good spot with the people that I keep in the circle that I have now. But there have been times in my younger years where I've had situations where it's like, either I am the only black person, like, or one of the few black people in a group or whatever, or I'm in a group with people and like they're like the popular people within the group, and then there's kind of the secondary people that are kind of looped in, if it's okay that day, if it's decided like, yeah, we'll let them come. So I've been used to like weird friend dynamics and weird bullshit that people pull when like, especially neurotypicals, when they don't want to like say to your face that they don't like you and they don't want you around, but like, because that would be mean, but then they just do petty weird passive aggressive shit instead, hoping that you get the sign. And like, my autistic ass is like, no, you need to spell this shit out. Like, I may see the signs, I do see the signs, and I'm great at pattern recognition in a lot of ways, but for like, if you're trying to hint to me how you feel, and you want me to understand like where you are with something, you have to like dead ass just say it straight. Just, and you know what, honestly, I will appreciate you more for it if you're hanging around with me, you're like, you know what, I don't really fuck with you like that, I don't really want to be around you. Great, I can go on about my business now. I don't have to be around you, and I don't have to like, we don't have to put on airs and like do weird shit and cat and mouse games or like 10D chess to like figure out like, okay, you don't like me, I don't ever have to see you again. Like, great, say less, bitch. Like, so just it's gotten me to think about a lot of the situations I've been in, especially when I'm the only black person, especially the only black femme, and like even at the time, when I was younger, I didn't always identify as non-binary, but like as a black woman and someone who was assigned female at birth, there I've been in a lot of situations where I was just like either the only woman or the only black person or the only femme, the only queer person, and it's doesn't feel good. And I am in a sense like I hate that this happened, but I am glad that conversations amongst black and brown folks are happening about like what that can mean being the only black friend in the group, and like how that can set you up. Like you may trust the white folks or like whoever else is in your group, but even if you have like another black person in the group, not all skin folk is your kinfolk. Taking a water break. Like you have to really like trust your gut with people. And hang on, I'm gonna adjust. You have to really like read the signs, read the subtext, and like understand where you stand with people, where people stand with you, and like who are your true friends. And like that's not easy because there's been so many people in my life that was like, yo, you my ride or die, I rock with you, like you and me versus the world forever. And then like some weird BS gets in the way, or like you both just change and grow. Like in the least toxic way, sometimes friendships end because you both just change and like are not on the same page. And it's just like, I wish you well. I'm gonna go over here though. To be fair, I haven't had a ton of those situations. I've had way more situations where it's like this person is actively toxic, and like I either wasn't aware or like didn't see the signs or didn't pay enough attention to them. Because the other thing is like you can see signs, like you can literally collect the signs, and then but if you don't put all the things that you're noticing together, it won't like make a complete story. And sometimes, by the time it does become a complete story, it's too late and harm has been done. So I am glad that this conversation is happening, even if like I wish the circumstances were different. I'm also really glad that his family sent out, or like had his body sent to, I think it was DC or something, to like get different a forensic and analysis. I don't know why like words are hard tonight. But I'm glad they sent him out of state, because the fact that like one of the kids that was with him, like his mom is a judge, and then like she came out with a weird statement, and it's like, well, I don't believe you. Like I you're a judge, you're a white judge, and I absolutely believe you're going to protect your white son and do anything you can to like hide evidence within your purview. Like I don't believe you. I just don't believe you, ma'am. Like you speak lies. But yeah, like I'm so glad that happened. I heard, don't know how true this is. I heard Colin Kaepernick actually funded part of, or some of, or maybe even all of, I listen, I don't fully know. But helped with that. And like on a separate note, this isn't a topic, but I'll never forget how some of us within the black community, and even how a lot of white people acted and treated Colin Kaepernick, or Kaepernick. I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm sorry. Um, like we really owed that man better. And he I mean he's doing better. And I think actually it's great that he isn't in the NFL, because like hopefully that means less CTE damage and like other physical injuries. And like, clearly we need, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic. Clearly we need to keep this man, his mental capacity as high as possible, because like he bringing that fire, like yas energy, and like he about it. And that needs to be recognized, that needs to be honored and supported. But yeah, uh you know I feel badly for Nolan, and his family, of course. I hope I mean, if justice isn't done, which it so happens so often in this country, like even as a true crime fan, I like what I liked about true crime, and I still like about true crime is when like good investigations and detective work is done. But like as I've gotten older and become more ACAB and like less falling for the propaganda of like crime shows or like Law and Order type shows, procedural shows type shit. Um, I still like true crime, but I can't rock with a lot of the true crime fandom because some of y'all is genuinely fucking weird. The fact that like there are fangirls for school shooters and like serial killers. I mean, I that has always unfortunately been a thing. I forgot what they call that. I think it's called hybristophiliac, which is basically like somebody who falls in love with a serial killer or like someone who's done like really bad things like that. I think, don't quote me on that or look it up, Google it before. Actually, don't Google it. Google is not gonna help you. Google is not gonna help you out. It's gonna give you some AI bullshit, but um, you know, look it up. And I will too, just to make sure I'm putting out right information. But like those people have always existed, and like even in the true crime fandom before it became like really exploded, there were those types of people. But or even people who like to buy murderabilia, which is just insane to me as somebody who's like kind of spiritually into like somewhat woo woo shit. I'm not fully woo woo. I do have crystals. I do have a tarot deck. I do light candles and burn incense and shit. But also like I'm not anti-vax. Like definitely you gotta to be in my coven, you have to be vaccinated. That's like absolutely we're all immunocompromised over here. So it's like you really need to be on your shit. Just checking. But yeah, um I what I don't like most about true crime now is that it does feel more exploitative, especially with like the Ryan Murphy dramatization of all these I fucking Ryan Murphy. Oh, I got so much beef with that man as like a show producer, as in like as I guess he does the writing if you want to call it that on the show as well. But like man, I've never seen that man handle like even a fictional plot or season well. Like man's always has like fire imagery or like weird cool weird shit and then like absolutely shits the bed in the last few episodes of every series that he ever has, if it ever even gets to being somewhat good. Like because there have been plenty of seasons of his work where it's like it's ass from the beginning and then by the end it's just a double pack of ass. So yeah, like the whole Evan Peters as why am I blanking on his name? Not Ted Bundy. I hate this. I hate when I can't remember things. It's gonna come to me, but I this is gonna bother me until I get it. Um, sorry. I have to look this up. I'm so sorry. Why do I always forget this guy's name? And I always remember Dahmer, of course, Dahmer. Of course. I'm being such a bad true crime fan, but like also I don't worship these guys. So, but like the Dahmer series, like the fact that they never talked to the family of the victims and it was just very exploitative. I don't know why I'm fucking up that word. Exploitative. But as a show and whatnot, like I don't want true crime to glorify or like make these guys out to be like these almost uh like godlike or ethereal or Lovecraftian creatures that like are not human beings and are bigger than life. But Dahmer was a human. Ted Bundy, they're all humans. They're all fuck ass humans. And like they went through some shit and that's sad for a lot of, I know for like Charlie Manson, he went through a lot of shit growing up. And like, yeah, that sucks, but it's also like you can't just kill people as your therapy for the bad shit that you dealt with growing up. Like just because you had a bad childhood or had fucked up shit happen doesn't mean that you just get to take that out on everyone in the world. And I hate that so much of these serial killers or like even family annihilators or school shooters or whatever become worshipped and like in a weird way deified. And it's like, no, they're just bum ass losers a lot of the time. Like most of the time, they're just like they thought they were so smart and they were just a bumbling idiot, and that just also had to deal with even dumber cops that just weren't on their shit. Um, that's I know I went off on a tangent about true crime and like all that, but all that to say, Nolan, rest in peace. Um, justice will be served. I hope it's in this life and I hope it is soon, but justice will be served either physically, judicially or cosmically, you know. And that's where I am with that. Um so the last couple things I wanted to talk about. This one might also turn into a rant, but I do want to kind of semi wrap up soon. Um so the death of physical media in terms of the PlayStation news that like they're not going to release physical discs anymore starting, I think they said in 2028 or maybe next year or something like that. But like one of the things I've realized, because like there was a time before technology became enshittified and like actively on user unfriendly. There was a time where I felt like digital media is great. Like it never goes away. It's basically like, not erasable and it's easier, it's cheaper, blah blah blah. And then um just with like all the hacks that have happened, all the like times that like Spotify has removed artists or like done some bullshit. I mean, all the streaming services, Apple Music. A lot of the times, the thing that pisses me off with using Apple Music is like I'll have songs from American artists and like they were produced, like they were made in America, literally like recorded all the shit in America. And Apple Music will be like, actually, the song is not available in your region. Tragic. And it's like, what? What the fuck do you mean it's not it was made in my region, which is North America? Like what are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about? And it's just dumb shit like that, and like just the prices of subscriptions increasing and blah 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 is why I want to go back to physical media. I want to go almost fully analog if I can. I want a dumb phone because again, I fucking hate this shit. If I could yeet it into somewhere where it wouldn't become an environmental disaster, I fucking would. I hate it. I hate our phones. And I hope you hear me, fuck ass bitch. you know. Um, but yeah, like I want physical media. There's a it's not technically like an analog device, but there's a device that like looks like a cassette tape. It's designed to look like a cassette tape, and but it has a screen on it. It does have like some like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities, I think, in terms of like transferring data, like your music or whatever, to from your computer to it. But like you can't really go on the internet on it. And like I think a lot of the time you have to like get an SD card or something so that it helps, like so you can have more space, because I think it only has like 8 GB or something like that. It's so I think it's called the Snowski Echo. And I really want to get one of those, and they're only like $50. Which I don't have that right now. I'm gonna have that, you know, not have that right now. Worst Jamaican accent in the world. But yeah, like I don't have that money, so I can't really swing that. But I'd really like to get one of those so I can like like just be off of Apple Music. I've already gotten rid of Spotify. Good riddance. And I want dumb devices again. Our devices know too much about us, especially like the flock camera thing. Like the fact that people are getting arrested and charged because the flock cameras like are misidentifying people or doing other bullshit. And then there was one situation where like in the flock system, one person was like flagged essentially as like something obviously negative or something like the system needed to pay attention to. But like they flagged the car's license, but it was the wrong it was a mistake. It was like literally a glitch, and the government, the people in control of that database are like, actually, we don't actually know how to make that not happen. Like we don't know how to undo that. Sorry. And it's like the systems, the world we live in has enough cracks that people fall into and disappear into. Like the point of technology, to me, in my opinion, should be to bridge the gaps that people can fall into, or at least catch them so they don't fall as far, right? And it's just like all of our technology, all of our everything, all of our data, all of our info, all of our privacy goes to serve this digital overlord that isn't even like actually that smart or capable or protecting us. And it's like, that's why I want physical media, and I am pissed off about PlayStation being like no more physical media. And like it may not stop me from necessarily using, like, I haven't played on my PS5 in a minute, but it may not stop me from utilizing like those devices. But at the end of the day, like it is something that will be noted. And if I hope there's a big enough backlash that builds, that makes people be like, actually no, I think the fuck not, you fake asshole. And makes enough of a stink about it that PlayStation and any other and Xbox and any other, gaming world people kind of realize, okay, we're doing too much. Because even the GTA 6 being like $80 and then like $100 for the premium version, like it was bad enough when games were $60. Like, and especially if you're taking away, it's one thing if it's like you get the disc at the end, like all the bonus content, like uh, free codes for life, free cheat codes, new skins, blah blah blah, and it comes in a physical disc or like a physical box that you can keep. Sure, make it $80, make it $100. Some fans will pay for that, like if they have that money. But like the fact that it's going to be released probably, I assume, digitally, and you're not even going to be able to hold that shit. So like the other aspect of digital media that I have an issue with is that everybody thinks that, oh, it's digital, it's in the cloud, it's safe. But all it takes is like one hack, one, the generator went out or the power went out, one blackout, or, something overheats, there's a flood, there's a natural disaster, and the building is destroyed. All it takes is one event like that, or even like somebody could walk by with a magnet and like shit's gone, and then it's just gone. Whereas like physical art, like physical stuff that can be archived, is actually a lot of the times like more longer lasting and better preserved than digital stuff. Because like for example with books and text, like they keep that shit in climate controlled rooms, and like they have sensors for anything like fire, I guess maybe if the oxygen, like something goes off with the oxygen, dampness, mold, like they protect that shit. And there's a reason why like we have texts from hundreds of years ago that are still preserved and kept safe and like kept from degrading, even because that's the other thing, like flash drives and or even just like computers degrade. Everything in technology is built to become obsolete at some point, because that's how they make money off of you. Water break. Um so yeah, I mean, this is all to me, it's all the signs and like the symptoms of fascism to like make our media less accessible and control what media gets put out, because that's the thing, if you don't have physical access to, let's say a movie comes out that's like maybe has a lot of controversy, and if you don't have access to the physical version of that, they can just block, like, you can't watch it on streaming services, you can't see it online, or it's not released in this region, and I know, like, you can use VPNs and get around a lot of that, but they could also come up with something where you can't. And it's like, it's all about control. Everything that we are seeing these days is all about controlling the masses, and keeping us dumb so we don't know the difference, or keeping us distracted so we're fighting about the wrong shit, and we're not like focused on the important things or the things that are actually happening. On that note, I will switch to like my final topic, which is the whole cyclospora thing going around. Um, I actually, in my notes, I have cyclospora. I don't know her, but or I hardly know her, barely know her. But yeah, like, it's crazy to me how, like, I mean, we knew with like the uh first round of the Trump presidency, like things were being rolled back, and things that shouldn't be able to be rolled back, like the EPA protections, and like, regulations that were figured out and put in place because people died, like the whole anti-vax movement, and then like the fact that measles is being spread everywhere. I heard recently there was a Legionnaires outbreak in New York, and it's like, with the cyclospora, it is something that has been known that like passes between vegetables. Um, and a big part of it is like the labor force that is used within agricultural systems or within our agriculture is mostly people who are considered migrants or immigrants, or people who are not Americans, because white Americans don't want to do work. If you don't know that, then you don't know the history of this country. White Americans and white people have never wanted to do the hard work, and that is why they stole my people and tried to genocide Native Americans and oppressed half the fucking globe, if not more, because they just don't want to do shit. They don't want to do work. And then they call black people and people of color lazy. And it's like, we built your shit. We built your whole society. We are the ones that make your lives easier because you put this crazy workload on us and expect us to do it, or we'll be punished. And you won't lift a finger for shit. Like all these trad wife people, all these like, yeah, let's move to a farm and poop out 5 billion babies. Like, poop out babies is crazy, but it's like, yeah, that's all good and well, but like, if you don't know shit about gardening and like doing it in a renewable, or like at least beneficial way to the soil, you're not going to be able to grow a lot of shit. And gardening itself, just the flowers, is a lot of work. Growing food is not that easy, and it takes time. Like, if you're hungry now and you start planting shit, that's not going to be like fully capable of being eaten for at least a couple of weeks, depending on what it is, if not longer. Um, and you're hungry now. Like, you can't just. And I know for some people, they're like, "Oh, just start growing your own shit." That's not possible for everyone, especially in New York or in a city. Even if you have land, or a backyard, maybe the ground is more acidic and it like fucks up, or basic, and it fucks up how the plants grow. Maybe it's just not a great piece of, like, the dirt is ass, and you can't really grow things on it. So, but what pisses me off the most about the cyclospora thing is that, like, we've known about this issue for years, and the fact that, like, a lot of the produce that is picked and harvested by um underpaid workers and whatnot, they don't even get bathroom breaks. So a lot of the times they're shitting and pissing in the fields where we're getting our food. And it's like, if y'all value the people that picked your food and like do your cleaning and do your dirty work for you all the time, that are, in terms of class or race or whatever lower than you, this wouldn't be happening. And it's the lack of understanding, at least within America and like I would say Western countries, of how every action has a reaction. Everything links back to each other, and everything's a ripple effect. If you don't treat the people that are caring for your food, your life, and like giving you a convenient, easy life, well, if you don't treat them well enough, yeah, that's gonna bounce back on you eventually. It may not immediately, but at some point you're going to see the quality go down, and like, of course, like all the migrants and all the people that are used for these fields for for agriculture have been deported or scared off, or are in hiding. And the reason why like cyclospora wasn't an issue before was because there were FDA regulations to keep that shit at a minimum and like help mitigate the issues that cause it, and like keep it from getting into the people's stomachs to make them sick. And then Trump cut the funding for that shit, so now along with EPA stuff where they're going to be allowed to drill where endangered species are. And it's just like, listen, for all these rich white assholes who just like, if you want to destroy a planet, I'm not gonna say good, do it somewhere else. Like, you shouldn't. You're fucked up for that. But especially because you still live here. Like, I know Zuckerberg and like Bezos aspire to like living in space, but you're still here, very much grounded on this earth. And like, even if you do get to the moon or wherever the fuck you're trying to go, you're gonna need wage slaves because y'all don't do shit yourselves. I'm not pointing at you, the audience. I mean, the rich white people. Y'all don't do shit yourselves. You can't do. Y'all would not be able to survive without the working class. Y'all can't even wipe your asses without the working class. So you think you're gonna get to Mars? You think you're gonna get to Mars without us and just leave us behind to die on a dying planet that you exploited until it no longer became viable? Like, no, 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 bitch. You gonna die on the Earth just like the rest of us. And even if you go to space, like, listen, space travel and like that sounds great. That sounds Gucci in like another 100 years or so if we get that sorted out or figure out teleportation. But I do not want to live in a space station, or like you can't even use the bathroom. Like you literally have to shit in a bag. And no, I'm pass. I'm good. I really like the toilets and like how we have figured that out. We have that toilet system. We have the plumbing system. I really like that shit. I really like running water, and I don't want to have to shit in a bag or like do all this extra stuff just to survive in space. Like that sounds so inconvenient and so annoying. Um, like, yeah, cool for maybe 5 minutes until you like have to shit, Um, so like, and the thing is, we can't wait for these people to figure that out. That like, hey, if you kill us or like don't care for the people who work for you, you're just fucking yourself up in the end. Um, I mean, I know the phrase is eat the rich, but I say we just compost them, kill them and compost them. For legal reasons, that is hypothetical. And or a joke. Haha. Just kidding. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap up with a couple of good things, positive notes. Um I really, really like that Mom Donnie created the first pet food pantry. I almost said pet food cemetery. Oof, that would have been a Freudian slip. But and it's actually kind of crazy to me that we didn't have one before. But like, I love that no one's even thought about that. I don't even think any mayor has like even cared about like pet shelters or anything like that. So the fact that he was like, yes, pet food pantries for lower costs, so that pet owners that are financially struggling don't have to give up their pets and like can still feed them. Yes, immediately. I love that Mom Donnie's like the cats stay fed in my city, Habibi. I love that. I love that. I look again, not trying to glaze the man, not trying to be a dick rider, none of that. But I really appreciate that for the first time in my life, I have a mayor that's not embarrassing, and that is like actively doing good shit and like doing shit that no one's even thought to do previously. Like that's just it's mind-blowing. It shouldn't be mind-blowing, it should just be regular, but it's mind-blowing to have a politician that like campaigned on something, on promises, and like actually follows through and does them and doesn't bend to like either the Democratic or the Republican views. And it's just like, nah, nah, we finna do this. We finna be out, and I really rock with that. I really appreciate Mom Donnie for that. And like again, not a perfect person. I'm sure he has or will do or say something that like I may not fully rock with. But like the point to me, you don't have to like align, especially with a politician, you don't have to align on every single fucking point. Um like it's important, there's some points that you do have to align on, right? For sure. But I don't have to agree with everything that like my friends think or believe, or family or society, but we can still like be chill with each other. Like it doesn't have to be like, oh, you disagree with me, banned, blocked, excommunicated, all the shit. It can just be like, we disagree on that, and that's fine. Obviously, that doesn't apply to like human beings or human rights type shit, but like, if it's small shit, it's like, oh, you like pistachio ice cream? I can't think of anything I would want to eat less than that, but good for you. Go if you like it, I love it for you, you know? And I think that is something that the divide in our country has kind of like kept us from realizing, especially between the liberal side and the more conservative sides, and even within the leftist side, which I like to think of as like somewhat separate from like the Democratic and or right wing, left wings, or at least liberal conservative stuff of the world. But also there are issues even within the left wing, there are issues even amongst anarchists. Um so it's not about perfection, but it is about standing on business and standing on your word and doing the things that you say that you're going to do or commit to. And I appreciate that he's about that life. Finally, obviously, the good news for the week, for the month, for the year. Mitch McConnell, inshallah, is dead, and or dying, and Lindsey Graham is dead. So like, yes, babies. And the other thing is like, news comes in threes. So let's hope there's an orange death in the future. And that's still a joke for legal reasons, but I'm still hopeful. All right. I think I'm gonna sign off for tonight. I'm getting kind of tired, and wow, this went way longer than I thought it was going to. I did it. I'm also gonna probably do another live stream. I think I mentioned at the beginning, earlier or not early in the week. Like Thursday or Friday. Haven't decided which one yet. I'll post about it. I'm gonna try to be better about community posts so that y'all know when I'm going live, and that hopefully somebody will join the chat. You know, I don't mind kind of just yapping, because I yap all the time to myself. Like I would be doing this regardless, whether it's recorded on live or not. But yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna wrap this. Thank you for joining me, or if you're in the rewatch VOD, thanks for watching. Have a good week. Lindsey Graham's dead. Celebrate however you see fit. And yeah, I don't know. Scatter. Get out of here. Get out of here.